Hello, welcome to Fred in the Shed. I'm up in the Radio Shack. Retekess have kindly sent in another small little portable radio to review, and this time it's the TR618. This 618 radio is part of a series of radios that Retekess seem to market for the elderly. I think that's because it's got nice and easy large analog controls, but I've got no problem with that. I like radios that are simple to operate, where you've not got loads of different menu options. Anyway, before we dig into this one and we listen to how it sounds, let's have a closer look at some of the features. Not a lot really in the box. Comes with a 1.5 metre long AC power lead. Then we have written instructions. Pleased to see that, very clearly laid out, very easy to understand. We have a good size 3.5 inch 1.3 watt 6 ohm loudspeaker. Tunes on 3 bands, FM, AM and shortwave. Shortwave runs from 16 to 18 megahertz or 49 to 16 meters. Tuning is done via a manual VFO, a manual tuning knob. Not sure if it's digitally stepped or it is analog, but I can confirm it is very smooth. The main controls are on the front of the radio, a very large, easy to use on-off volume control, a switch to turn from MP3 to radio operation, and then the 3-band selector. We have the built-in controls for the MP3 player, which we'll be looking at later. One curious thing here is when I switch the radio on, it shows hi-fi, which seems to indicate maybe an EQ setting. But seeing as the radio hasn't even got a tone control, a little bit confused with that. Moving on to the side, we have the manual tuning knob, and then we've got all of the inputs for the MP3 player. Good to see here that it supports full-size SD card, micro SD and TF card, and there's also a USB input. Formats supported are standard MP3 and WMA. Around the back of the radio, we have the battery compartment. Uses 3 D cells. Maximum draw of the radio is 3 watts, which is a little bit higher maybe. And then finally, the radio has a built-in 60 centimetre telescopic whip antenna. Radio weighs in at 870 grams, 1.9 pounds. So it's light enough that you could carry it around. Let's see how it tunes, how the radio sounds. I'm going to start off on the AM band, but going to have to switch the overhead LED lights off because we'll get some interference.
Every chance in the world you possibly can do it, because by the time the goalkeeper takes it here and everyone gets forward, and by the way, he doesn't want to take it because he's not want to pass it to now.
Zero fee on the first online transaction and can lock in our best exchange rate for cash pickup. And that's a guarantee.
Why not? Yeah. The market's back in Glasgow, a city you know well. The Patrick Company, Rangers, the club you used to play for, with Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. And now...
So I can't really play you any music on the radio band, unfortunately, because of copyright. But yeah, it sounds pretty good. It picked up quite a few stations there. The audio on the spoken word, very nice and clear from this 3.5 inch speaker. And yeah, no problems. Let's go over to FM and see how it copes with that.
Pretty soon I'll be gone.
Not sure that I'm going to have very much time to talk to him.
Yes, hi Jonathan.
Just in 30 seconds, I know it's difficult to put you under that amount of pressure, but what are your...
Machiavellian figures using this movement, I think, for their own ends, to try to come out the other side of this turbulence as...
And once again, no problem there with the FM reception. Picked up a lot of stations, bearing in mind we're up in the attic. Did you hear the tuning step, the chuffing of the tuning step? So it is a digital tuning device, it's not an analog tuner. It's so difficult nowadays to find an analog tuning radio, but there's no problem with that. Absolutely fine on that. Okay, let's I'll go over to shortwave. I might have to go back a little bit later on today to get some shortwave, but we'll see if we can pick up anything on shortwave.
8 aylık hamile olduğu kayıtlara geçti. Çin'de günlük yeni tip koronavirüs vaka sayısı salgının başından bu yana en yüksek seviyeye çıktı.
flame caused blackout in neighboring Moldova as well.
için çabalayan, görevleri başında ve emekli olan tüm öğretmenlerimizin Öğretmenler Günü'nü kutluyoruz.
Nevertheless, the reservations expressed by the Netherlands and more recently by Austria regarding Romania joining the free travel area have raised questions whether an unanimous vote on December 8th is still possible. This is why Romanian President Klaus Iohannis has not...
So it didn't do too bad there on Shortwave. Picked up a few stations. Bearing in mind I'm up in the Radio Shack. I'm surrounded by all of this electronic equipment. It's not the most ideal place to pick up Shortwave. Once again, you can always attach just clip on a long wire to the telescopic antenna to improve reception even more. The only thing lets the radio down really for serious Shortwave is the fact that digital tuning step and there's no fine control, which you would really want on a Shortwave receiver. It's a casual Shortwave radio, but yeah, it sounded okay. Let's move on and have a look at that MP3 player. Not tried this before, just got a USB stick here with a few MP3s. Going to shove that straight in the side. Always get that the wrong way. See what happens. Oh, there you go, it started playing straight away. So very basic controls here. Repeat, play, pause. Yeah, pause, previous and next. So if this was for the elderly, then certainly they'll be able to get to grips with that. Anyway, let's hear how it sounds. Yeah, I think that sounds really nice. That's quite a nice mellow sound. There's a little bit of bass there as well. It does lack any bass or treble or tone controls, which would probably be quite nice with the MP3 player. But certainly very, very clear. And also, one thing with this speaker is there's no distortion. You can max out the volume to its full 1.3 watts. Absolutely crystal clear. No distortion. So yeah, that sounds pretty sweet to me. Conclusion time. What do I think? Well, I think it's a nicely made radio for just over £30 UK. Even without the batteries, it's got a nice bit of weight to it. It feels solid. I like the way the controls handle. Even though the tuning is digital, it does feel nice and smooth. There's no notches. I also like the way the volume and the on-off switch. Again, it feels quite quality. And I've said this before, and I'm not just saying this. I know this is provided as a freebie for the review. But I mean it. If I blocked out the logo there and I handed this to someone, you would think that this is a more premium product, maybe a cheaper version of a Roberts or Sony, something like that. The quality is really, really improved from these Chinese manufacturers. Criticisms, at this price point, it's hard to criticise it, but I think one or two things perhaps they've missed an opportunity. I know I bang on about it. I would have liked to have seen a tone control, certainly with the MP3 player. They could have fitted an LCD clock in as well, I think, when the radio is in standby mode. I think a clock would be quite nice. This is likely to be used in, say, a kitchen, something like that. No Bluetooth as well. Yeah, that would have been quite handy. So you could have Bluetoothed it from your phone. But maybe I'm being a little bit picky for £30, expecting a bit too much. Aimed at the elderly? Yeah, maybe. I think the controls are nice to use. Very big knob there for the volume and the tuning. Easy to see tuning dial. I think the elderly might appreciate that. But then I appreciate that as well. And you know what? I think that's about it. That's nothing else to show you. I do like these easy to operate radios. They're so simple to review. If you're interested in something like this, I will leave a link in the description to take you to the Retekess shop where you may want to make a purchase. But that's it. All I need to do is say, as always, thanks for your view time. Thanks for tuning in. There's the thumb from Fred in the Shed. Please give it back to me down below. I would appreciate that. But as always, please, take care of each other, stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.